A part of my love for gaming is the hype that comes along with upcoming titles. Back in the day, we had gaming magazines filled with articles, screenshots, concept art, damn near anything to get us interested in new games on the horizon. Nowadays, we have game trailers, company directs, and shows that span hours to premiere the next gaming adventures that are right around the corner. Every gamer has had those moments when just the first few seconds of a never-before-seen video just jacks you up to 11, and you just know what's coming and your mind is fucking freaking out with insta-hype. Or maybe the hype is a slow burn, building up over time the more you learn about a game. However, or whatever gets you hype, it's a feeling we all share. In this video, I'm going to go over some games that I recall having outer space levels of hype for and basically go through my experience. Keep in mind, I'm only talking about the hype and build-up of these games, and it's all from my perspective. We're not going to talk about the final product or my thoughts after playing them. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 64. I used to love Zelda as a kid, specifically the first one and A Link to the Past. So naturally, before the Nintendo 64 came out, the idea of a 3D Zelda was just too amazeballs for my little mind to handle. I remember seeing all the pictures of the game in Nintendo Power and just being amazed. I had to have this game, and it's what I begged my parents to get me for that Christmas. Obviously, I haven't been a kid for decades, and I hope this is still a thing today, but the combination of the excitement for a game and the excitement for Christmas was peak childhood joy. Christmas Eve was a sleepless night. Am I going to get the new Zelda game I've been dreaming about every night, that I've been talking about at school endlessly? Will my wish come true? I'd give anything to go back and have the only anxiety in my life be, am I going to get the new Zelda game for Christmas? Ocarina of Time is the perfect example of kid gamer hype for me. Final Fantasy VII for the PlayStation 1. If there's one game commercial that lives in my head rent-free, it's the one for Final Fantasy VII. I didn't have a PS1 at the time, I didn't have the internet, no PlayStation magazine. I was just randomly watching TV one day and Final Fantasy VII came on the screen and I freaked out. The graphics were just so astounding to me. Everything seemed epic and larger than life. I couldn't believe I was watching an ad for Final Fantasy on TV. It was probably the first time my nerd side felt officially noticed in the eyes of the world. Through my youth, video games were not mainstream like they are today. I only knew like 2 other kids that played Final Fantasy games at school. Seeing Cloud Strife on the tube was a huge deal. After seeing that commercial, I never wanted anything more in my life. I felt I needed to play it. I needed to be a part of it. The only Final Fantasy games I played up to this point were just 1 and 4. So the graphical jump to 7 was like leaping over the Grand Canyon. I had to have it. Batman: Arkham City for the Xbox 360. I was slightly late to the Arkham train and didn't play Arkham Asylum until the Game of the Year version came out. I played it and thought, this was the best comic book game I've ever played. The story, the graphics, the gameplay, the godlike voice actors involved, all of it clicked with me so well that I immediately fell in love with it. Batman is my favorite comic book hero, so when you mix that with an awesome video game, it's a formula for a straight nerdgasm. Then later on, when I saw the trailer for Arkham City, I followed that game for all the details and reveals. I was hella pumped. The game was boasting a bigger area to explore compared to Arkham Asylum, introducing new villains, new combat features, but the clincher was the collector's edition that came with this awesome Batman statue that I still have today. It's pretty rare when I pre-order a physical game or even swoop up a collector's edition, but my hype for Arkham City and this dope-ass statue was too high for me to not shell out the cash for it. No Man's Sky for PC. At E3 2014, a trailer dropped for a sci-fi game that got myself, my friends, and a lot of gamers to take notice. We had a first-person view of an alien planet with its radical colors and strange creatures. Then we hop into the cockpit of a spaceship, lift off the planet, and fly into space to join a dogfight. Minds were blown this day, and questions just poured out. A lot of were just ravenous for more information. This seemed like this game was going to be the next big thing. Then gasoline was poured onto the flame over and over every time Sean Murray, the founder of Hello Games, opened his mouth. Of course, we all found out that a lot of what Sean Murray said was bullshit, but before that, we were all sold. The ideas of everything he told us of what was going to be in the game was just mesmerizing us. The lead up and the wait for this game was intense, and even though the end effect wasn't as great, it's still memorable. Fallout 4 for PC. I've said it before, but I'm a big Bethesda stan. If there's a new Fallout or Elder Scrolls game, I grow a big, wet, rubbery one. The best example of this was with the release of Fallout 4. Bethesda did a big showcase at E3, showing the new locations, weapons, character customizations, the whole works. At this time, I was so ready for a new Fallout adventure, and my love for the series helped fuel my excitement. And the Piece de Resistance was the collector's edition that came with a Pip-Boy. It even had an app for your phone that you could sync with your game data. I pre-ordered that shit day one, and I must have rewatched that showcase over 20 times before the game dropped. I even went on Fallout's website to find any merchandise, and the first thing that they posted on that reveal was a Fallout 4 shirt, and I fucking bought it. I was just straight cuckoo bananas for this game. Street Fighter 6 for PC. There are some games that actually start off with skepticism that evolves into hype. Street Fighter 6 is one of those games. The reason I was sus for the latest installment of Street Fighter was because of how much I despised Street Fighter 5. It had an awful launch with bare bones content, and I just found the game boring to play and boring to watch. When the Street Fighter 6 announce trailer dropped, there was a big focus on content through most of it, so my faith slowly began to restore, as I got the sense of Capcom learning from its mistakes. I kept up to date as details and gameplay footage came out, and was getting interested in how Street Fighter looked in the RE engine. But, of course, I wanted to feel how it played. Capcom had their first beta and I didn't get in, and I had to watch others stream and post everything they were finding, which increased my desire to play it tenfold. But I finally got in for the second beta and instantly got hooked. The full cast and all content wasn't unlocked, but I knew the game was going to be special. After the beta, there was a demo that was nothing more than just a basic tutorial mode with Ryu. But myself and many others just spent 2 weeks straight practicing with Ryu and practicing the game mechanics. We were so hyped. We spent hours upon hours for 2 weeks practicing basic tutorial mode. That's how fucking excited we were to play this game. My journey leading up to Street Fighter 6 started at the bottom and reached the peak of Hype Mountain. There was no other fighting game I was more excited to get my hands on. Those are just a handful of games that I remember being extremely hyped for. Every year there's at least one game I get nuts about, and it's one of the most fun things about being a gamer. What are some games that you got super hyped for? Feel free to share your thoughts. Thank you for watching.